Like my story is insane and it might be like, well, you got really lucky.
It's not luck. It's
It's not luck. It is this universal law, but you can't get there until you make insane decisions because you have to be completely fucking delusional for it to work. With styling, I've learned so much because I failed so many times in front of thousands of people, failed, right? But now I do feel like I'm good at my craft because of all of the things that I've failed upon. I was fully broke, $25,000 in debt. And then Chappell hired me. Every outfit, we had $50 budget. You have to understand that truly the place I'm in right now is because I made insane sacrifices.
Sacrifices or belief. I think what the universe wants from all of us is that. They want faith. I've been so looking forward to this. I'm so happy to have you here.
Me too. Our conversation was so awesome. No, I know. I've been telling my girlfriend, I was like, I'm so excited to just talk to you again more so than anything.
Aw, the feeling is mutual. And that's what I want this podcast to be like. It's like you're meeting your new best friend and like, what would the conversation be like?
Yeah,
and I always feel like if that was just recorded.
It's the meat and potatoes of it all, you know? Because that was the first time we'd ever met each other. And so it was just like, okay, what is your trauma? Let's start. Let's go.
Yeah,
then.
It's like the magic of when you first meet someone and you feel this connection. And then that's always the best part. So how are you feeling? How are you right now?
I'm good. When we were talking the last conversation and I was saying, how I just feel like I don't have the time for anything to get ready, yada, yada. And you're like, well, I want you to be fully, dressed for this. And so I was like, okay, perfect. And even still, I had 10 minutes to get ready. So I was like, okay. So I was like doing my lip liner while we were getting the tech ready. And then it just made me think like, this is just what we're living in right now. That's okay.
And also like for me, that's what it takes me to get dressed basically.
Yeah, me too, usually. I think it's just nice to not be frantic because then I can, breathe a little bit. But then when I'm frantically getting ready, I feel like not necessarily in the best headspace to have a conversation. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm starting it in this like, instead of it being like, okay.
And that is the problem to your point of the world that we live in. And I actually am starting to come to a place, and I feel like it's kind of a collective consciousness thing. We're getting out of this idea that we have to kill ourselves, like we have to overdo everything and work so hard in order to get anywhere that you're fully burnt out. And I know that's not a reality for you right now, and we'll get into that. But
I think it's just like the industry, it just moves that way. It's like 4 shows a year. Well, 4 shows plus couture. That like structure alone within the fashion industry, it's like you have to move quickly because there's a new show every 4 months.
I think at some point that's unsustainable.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unsustainable in terms of being able to actually create real creations, not just commodified and
purposeful with the story. That's why I've always wanted to work on film instead of a week to conceptualize a storyline for the visual like art that you're putting out. You have months to develop this really long form world, with character analysis. Then also if there's any historical context there, any reference, then you're bringing in so much more. And that just seems so calming to be able to sit in something for longer than a week or 2 weeks at a time.
Yes, and also one of the things that I resist and rebel against on social media as someone who puts myself forth with my style, I'm partly doing it because I'm trying to show that you don't have to keep changing your clothes. Every single thing that you do doesn't have to be everything brand new. Like that's impossible. That's not style. I get into a uniform and I'm going to wear, and the uniform just slightly morphs for a month, and then, or there's like a pair of shoes that are my favorite shoes for the year or 2 years. This idea that every day it's a different thing, head to toe.
It's crazy. Yeah, you have to build your style. It doesn't come in the frequency of what is trending, definitely at all.
Yeah, so tell me about you and what you're wearing and how this reflects you in this moment.
I'm wearing a Rick dress. A Rick for me, which I always buy secondhand because I cannot afford full price. I've never walked into a designer store aside from Rick and actually wanted to buy things. I feel myself in this. I feel powerful in this. I think Rick makes women's clothes that is not flattering in the most basic sense of the word, but I feel just very otherworldly.
I love when you see something, a piece of clothing or a shoe or something, and you're like, oh, no, I can't do that. Is that me? No. Well, can I? But I'm really attracted to it. Then you do it. And you take that sort of step outside of your box, and then it becomes you. And then you want to be that every day.
Definitely.
And you're expanded.
I love that. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. I just feel like it fits. I feel like the garments themselves fit the other things that I have on my body, including my tattoos and my hair and like the things that I've had and will have for decades.
I look at it exactly the same way. Like, how many thousands of ways is this going to work with every single thing that I have?
Totally. And I think I do have this weird identity crisis with my tattoos. You know, tattoos are an ornament for your body, and mine are so very visible. My hands are covered and I have a neck one that's very visible. So if I actually am showing skin, my arms and my legs, you're seeing a lot of tattoos. And I've got them when I was really young. I haven't gotten a new tattoo in years. I'm covered with these symbols of the past, and they're beautiful and I love them all and I don't regret them at all. But I think when it comes to that, it's like this, I'm trying to dress myself for now with these like very confusing representations of the past. And so like the more like blank the slate is, the more I feel like it makes sense, which I guess maybe is why Rick feels good to me. It's not, you can't pinpoint it really.
Have you always been so free in your self-expression?
I think in elementary school, I was very non-conforming. I was like the first person in my class to dye my hair. It was just like my thing. I just loved it.
Wow.
You know, told everyone I talked to spiders. This is a whole situation. Told everyone I was psychic. We can go on that on another podcast. But I mean, like every other, I think, middle schooler, you try to conform. I remember just being, I like this boy. Well, I'll make it really quick. But this is a good representation of kind of the situation. Liked this boy, had a huge crush on him. The kids made fun of me for it, but they were also like, oh, he said that he would go on a date with you if you painted your nails pink, because I always painted my nails black. I was like, of course, I was so impressionable, and I was just like, yeah, I just wanted people to like me, and I was so fucking weird. So I painted my nails pink the next day, made fun of horrifically. After that day, that was like a pivotal point where it was kind of like, okay, like kind of say fuck the popular kids for the foreseeable future. That just was not my journey. I never got there. I never made sense within the space. And so I rebelled, and I got bullied a lot for like bad things that I had done to friends and stuff because my home life was really bad. So I was just revolting in all ways.
Like what? What was an example?
Well, I got arrested when I was 12, so I wasn't allowed to hang out with a lot of my friends. Like their parents would let me go over there, and then my parents would fight a lot at home. I was at a party. I was, again, in 8th grade, and one of my friends in the same group, her boyfriend kissed me at a party. He was, 18, so like, fuck that dude also. But there wasn't really any getting away from it, even though it wasn't like necessarily what I wanted. But it was like, yeah, my name was written on every wall, every textbook. My phone number was like on the Ferris wheel, call here, get your, kind of vibe. Because of that, though, because of just that constant bullying and being so shamed for whatever, doing drugs, being a drug, whatever, then I just did it. Everything that they just said that I was like, okay, like, you want to see it? I'll do it. So I did that for a while.
I remember you describing to me, you were feeling so alienated from the cliquey, popular conformity of middle school,
Yeah.
not at home. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
And you saw someone sitting on a front step when you went to the first punk show, I think it was.
It was called the Conservatory, the venue. It's not around anymore. So just shout out, because that place really changed my life. My first punk show was the Casualties when I was 15. And, I remember just like cosplaying and dressing up, putting on the pink docks, little dress, trying to whatever. It was the first time I ever saw somebody head to toe expressing themselves to the fullest extent in almost a theater. There was like 100+ people in head to toe, 100-pound leather jackets. And I think it just was immediately this space where I felt included, and I didn't fit in because I had no idea what was going on within that space at the time, but I just pedaled to the metal. I just learned everything. I just watched every punk documentary, punk movie I could find. I just did so much research after that, and I felt really invested. That's like the origin story. And then from there, we just kind of kept spiraling and snowballing into different sectors of the degenerates.
I even would hesitate to even label it degenerate.
I say that in the most loving way.
Yeah, I don't even see it that way. I see it that you were sticking to who you are. You refused to not be what you were feeling and who you are, and you were trying to find yourself, and you were allowing yourself to have that exploration and to be not in the box. And I think that that's really admirable. And I related a lot, and you were rebelling. You were, I did a lot of that too. And I think it was really important. And it's brave. It's brave to, especially when you're a kid, to not conform. I think it's always brave, to just be yourself. And I remember do you want to say something about that?
No. Brave is a word I would never use for other people. Yes. For myself in that situation, that's not what I would use, but that's very nice and a kind way to put it.
What would you use?
I don't know. Lost, searching, but also just, I knew the mistakes I was making were not the greatest things to do, and I did them anyway.
Like what?
With just hurting myself, with just doing drugs, or I just wanted to feel differently so badly and feel loved. And I tried to find love everywhere else besides within. I went through a lot of years of having to forgive myself for the things that I've done and allowed.
But the reason that I say brave is because I think it's brave to be lost.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you were lost and you were doing things that were hurting yourself, but you ultimately have landed into a very full and complete version of yourself at a very young age.
Yeah.
I think maybe it has something to do with allowing yourself to be lost and explore.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just try to squeeze in and follow.
Mm-hmm. But it's weird because that felt hard. That was the hard part that I could never do. That felt impossible.
You couldn't do it if you tried.
I know, but that's why it's so difficult.
Don't even ever try.
Yeah. No, and now I don't try ever. Now I live within that. And that is I sit and I feel super good within myself in every space now. But I wanted it badly.
But look what grew out of that. Look at the person that grew out of that. So that's why I think some of this needs to be reframed. You weren't accepted, but you refused to cave to that. And you allowed yourself to be lost and to explore. And I remember you talking about this vision of a person sitting on the front steps, this place, this theater. You were mesmerized.
Yeah.
And it changed. It was like a life-changing moment.
Yeah. Seeing people who were so non-conforming, and then also not just be non-conforming, but taking such care and time to dress the way that they dress. Because to me, non-conforming at that point was alienating everything, and it was pushing everything away. Taking the time and the care to care about getting dressed or what I look like, I did care, but doing it in a way that was thoughtful to me was conforming. So seeing people that I was like so enamored by, putting so much thought and care into what they were wearing, it just changed things for me. It made me realize, that you can care about something and still be non-conforming. You can care about something so much and still not have to walk the walk of the status quo or live in the matrix. Instead of not caring about everything, I started to just care about the things I really enjoyed and liked. And that's when I went on the spirals of punk, film, club kids, and the other subcultures that I wasn't exposed to.
It's like you were seeing authenticity. You were seeing the magnetism of when people are seamlessly connected inside out, from the inside to the outside in who they are.
Exactly.
That there's no separation.
Exactly.
They're so conscious of who they are. They want to be seen exactly as who they are. And they're not afraid to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much pure power in that.
Mm-hmm. Like everything.
It's really everything. And we live in a culture that more and more and more people are so distant from that love of themselves or that connection to themselves because they're so brainwashed to think that they need all the same thing.
And money. But there's not a reason why. It's just like, I want it because they said that I should have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not coming from inside of them. It's coming from being influenced in one way or another to think that you need it. And the question is, do you need it? Is this really you? Or is this a karaoke version of yourself?
It's hard because in the entire culture of the way that people get taught that money and status and a good job is going to be the root of happiness, but none of it is like why other than the fact of safety. But why is safety the like end all be all here? Like, you need insurance. And yeah, I mean, I would love insurance for sure, but am I gonna work every day, all day, for something I don't want to do for insurance?
Right. And is that really safety? Because really, if you are aligned and true to yourself, you can have all of that. You can have, you'll get it all.
I know.
As opposed to just, I will trade in myself, the things that I love and the things that make me happy and that give me purpose and make me thrive. I'll trade that in for insurance. Whereas if you really believe in yourself, it's not really trusting that you'll have it. You'll have all of it.
Definitely. And I think there's other things that you give up along the way, for sure.
Do you want to explain that, what you're saying?
I think any creative endeavor is kind of escaping the matrix, and you know, like, to do it, I give up everything else.
You mean as a stylist right now in your career?
So as a stylist right now in my career, I do have a relationship. That relationship is tumultuous a lot of the time because of my job. I give up any sense of planning, literally anything. It doesn't matter. Going to the doctor, like, I might have insurance, but try to actually schedule an appointment to go to the doctor. It's like, yeah, right. Which is fine. It's literally not a complaint. I'm just saying this is what I'm giving up. Any scheduling of anything, I can't see my family, and it's your life. It becomes your life. I don't have hobbies. I don't have. I see my friends when I can, but I do not have really impactful relationships with people because of the time constraint that I'm on at all time. Yeah.
So let's just make this really clear, because I was also a stylist, so I understand what you're saying. So I'm going to make it very clear.
Okay.
When when you're a fashion stylist, like, people do not understand what is entailed. So take us through your last big thing that you styled so that people can understand what you're doing.
I'll kind of go in the last few weeks because I think this is a very good weeks to kind of go. So I was working on 5 things for Lisa. And then I also had an editorial Japanese breakfast on the Saturday. Now, I said yes to the Japanese breakfast shoot on Saturday first, and then the Lisa team asked me, and so I said yes with them. And we had Elton John Oscars with Chappell that Saturday. Okay, so this is 6 things all in 1 week. And that's like a lot, but it was doable. Since I'm working with 6 things on top of each other, I had in total for Lisa 82 boxes at my house. And I do everything out of my house because I don't have a studio with her. So my entire living room, my second bedroom, my dining room is completely full. And then within those 82 boxes, there's at least 10 items, 1,000 items for Lisa. And then for Chappell, I had on top of that, like we brought in, and that's not including garment bags from showrooms. So then we're talking about maybe 100 garment bags and then like some jewelry options, whatever. Like 90% of the job is making sure you know where everything is so that you don't have to pay $10,000 for it after, and then you don't get paid at all because you just spent $10,000 on a lost one pair of earrings because you were moving from point A to point B to point C to point D and then having to pack it all up again and then ship it out. It's very
and nothing can
beyond.
Be scratched. It all has to be usable again. I mean, it's. Mm-hmm. And so you were saying that a big thing on your mind is where are you? Mm-hmm. Where are you in the middle? Like what? Yeah.
Lost. So lost. We're lost there. I mean, it's really something. I didn't understand how. Before this, I thought about art every day and all the time, and I saw inspirations and everything. You know, it did take up a lot of brain space, but now when I am on a project or when it's like a really busy week, it's just live, breathe, try to eat. You're definitely, if I don't have to get ready, I'm not getting ready because I don't have time to get ready. I sometimes have to wake up at like 3 a.m. to talk to Paris to make sure that I'm getting what I'm getting in time. And then I try to go back to sleep until 7 to then like make sure I'm still able to like talk to New York. There's no space for myself within this. There really isn't. It's hard. It's difficult. And I'm very lucky, like so lucky.
Well, you're very, you keep saying lucky. You said lucky before. I think that you're very talented and very singular. You're very in touch with yourself, with what you want to express, what you want to be like in the world. Like you're very connected to wanting to put forth truth.
Yeah.
That's how I see you.
Thank you. That's very, very kind. I obviously try to do as many artistic things within this pop culture space that is so much about marketing. That's not where I come from at all.
What do you mean in terms of your own interest?
Yeah, I think I just was so against things that were popular.
That's interesting.
Because I did not feel connected with the people that liked them. And because I did not feel connected with the consumer, I couldn't do it. And now there are things within pop culture that I do like. I do wish kids had more of a space like I had when I was younger with even just Tumblr to find things that are not just shoved down their throat on the radio or in the algorithm or on a billboard. I felt so lucky to have a Tumblr to be able to like
explore, find yourself, discover, be messy. That's what's missing right now. Yes. I admire what you've done with Chappell, with the styling. She does stand out and stand apart. And it's not just this hypersexualized, typical pop thing. It's just everything is just in a frenzy of selling, that there's no room to discover. Yeah. There's no room to fail. There's no room to fearlessly fail. I heard Malcolm McLaren, the Sex Pistols, created punk with, married to Vivienne Westwood, say, would you rather be a magnificent failure or a benign success?
Literally, exactly. That is the point of contention for me. I got in trouble. I'm not going to talk about it, so don't ask.
Okay.
I got in trouble online because of something I said that people took out of context. I could have said it better. Just about the fact that I wasn't worried about failure, especially when it came to financial failure, having to like live in my car. Like I was coming to LA with the expectation that everyone else who said what they thought, which was that I was going to fail. And
that's when you first came. So when you first came
Yeah.
to LA, how did you first come? How did that happen?
I had a jewelry brand at the time. And so it was kind of like going to LA to expand that because I thought that that was going to be what was going to be successful. I was always trying to go to LA. I was like dead set on it. And then I ended up finally getting there 5 years ago, January of 2020. And then obviously everything shut down. So that was hard. And then I just like closed the door on the brand because I had this last final drop that I did that I spent like all my last money on to make it bigger. And I literally spent every dime, paid all my friends to like help me, like literally my last dime, because I believed in it. And then I didn't make any money. I lost it all. I had to move out of my apartment because I couldn't afford it anymore. I was dating this guy and he let me move in with him. And then I'd worked as a PA for a couple of my friends on some shoots. And one of my friends, Mara, was just like, I think you could do styling. And I never really I just didn't think I was good enough at all. But I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Followed every fashion stylist on my Finstagram. And then within 2 days, I saw Davey Sutton post from London that he was coming to LA and needed an assistant. And I responded, and then he hired me. And then within a week of that, Nicola Formichetti asked Davey if there was a good assistant that he used. And he said me. And then my first job was Lady Gaga, Dom Perignon.
Wow. That is such a mythological story.
Yeah, I know.
It's the classic true story of the universe is redirecting you. It has to all shut down until you make the left turn instead of the right turn that you keep trying to make.
But you can't get there until you make insane decisions because you have to be completely fucking delusional for it to work. And I've seen it not just with myself. Like my story is insane and it might be like, well, you got really lucky.
It's not luck. It's not luck.
It's not luck. It is this universal law of like, if you believe, and believe me, I overdosed in 2021 and I died that year. I got revived. You have to get to the bottom, the very bottom. And then when you're finally back again and you think things are going to go well and then everything goes away, you have to get up again and show that you really want to do it. And by the way, I didn't get hired again from Nicola and I went broke again, fully broke, $25,000 in debt. Okay, I'm going to keep going, just keep going. And then Chappell hired me. Every outfit, we had $50 budget, 200 cap rooms. I was getting paid $200 a day until last year. And I was styling the band and her. You have to understand that truly the place I'm in right now is because I made insane sacrifices. Insane sacrifices.
Sacrifices or belief.
Yeah.
Faith. Like this absolutely impenetrable faith that you've had from the very beginning. It's the same as all the popular kids kicking you out and you just keep on going until you found your people. Well, I think what the universe wants from all of us is that they want faith to understand that every single solitary thing that happens with us with certainty is for us.
And it is.
And it is.
If you're on that, it is.
No matter how painful, no matter how many times you crumble onto the ground and can't barely get back up again, I have my own version of it.
Well, I'm sure. Because you've escaped the matrix too. So that's literally just what happens. That's the path then that you take.
Escaping the matrix is the faith.
Humbling.
Is faith. And very humbling, but also it means that you are believing in yourself. That because if you have to be in the popular group, if you have to be in the status quo, then you're bending yourself. That's sacrifice. That's being half of yourself. But when you fully refuse to be anything less than your most whole, huge, giant self that is supposed to be here as that version, because why are we here if we're not here to be that? In comes the hand.
Yeah. I think it's easier when you are religious to believe in that, because then you can like pinpoint it down to something.
Or spiritual.
Or spiritual, but I feel like with religious, it's a little bit more easy because you have like something to go to that is just like, okay, that, like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. But when you don't have that, and when you're trying to express that to others of like, you know, and I always tell my friends, I'm the first one to say like, quit your job. Quit your job, quit college. I'm the first one to say it.
Yes, me too. Me too. Lily did it. My daughter, she quit college, and 3 of us, we built StyleLikeU, and they both dropped out of college.
Wow. What were they going for?
I don't even, they were lost. They were lost. They were just doing the thing. This was absolutely taking off like crazy. We were onto something. It was definitely the universe saying, are you going to say yes? For me, it was, oh yeah, this is why I had to fall flat on my face 10 trillion times until my early 50s to find out what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
This is why I had to fail so many times. Almost no. Almost no.
But it's not, there's no failing. It's just learning.
Into
like
shining light. You fail into your magnificence. You fail into your success.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think too, with styling, aside from just like that story, because it all happened, you know, in increments and it wasn't just overnight type. With styling, I've learned it so much because I failed so many times within learning, because I wasn't an assistant for as long as I should have been at all to learn what I needed to learn. So I failed in front of thousands of people, right? But now I genuinely like do feel like I'm good at my craft because of all of the things that I've failed upon. You know, when it comes to like a pop performance and performance wear, I think I'm pretty damn versed at this point.
Looking back now, what is the thing that you felt shame around and now has become a superpower, something that you've embraced?
I feel like we talked about it, but I think definitely just being able to explore what other people don't understand. And I try to do that within the job by having my own references of things and then kind of emulsifying it into the space to be enjoyed by the masses.
And what is the inspiration for Chappell and what you've done with her? Has that come from something in art or?
Yeah, I mean, we have different references for every thing that we do because she loves themes, and I had never seen anyone do specific themes for each show like that. And so it was a good space already to be able to also kind of cause mayhem and havoc and like be really seen. I come from more of, that punk and club kid background. And then she is more so a glamorous drag background. It was just a like amalgamation of the two and kind of bringing in those more alternative, very queer, gay references and putting it all together into like one thing.
Big, beautiful birth of something new, like alchemy into something that's its own original thing. That in some ways reminds me of like a royal court in, during the Rococo period of art or something.
Totally. Yeah.
I would say if you had to ask me what I think it is.
I think there's this level too where I don't know if you've seen the comments of just on celebrities in general of like, watching this from District 11, like from Hunger Games. Have you seen that? I do believe that as celebrities, you're the only people that get the opportunity to wear all of these beautiful creations to show the public what can be done visually and artistically. And so, I think people see it of like this glam. I mean, these people aren't owning these clothes that they're wearing. Right. These people don't own these Tiffany necklaces. Like they're borrowed. So it's just kind of like if you have this ability to do that and to wear that and to create this theater in front of you, now the celebrities are the jesters. To emit and show as much artistic expression as humanly possible for other people and for little kids to look at that and say, oh my gosh, that's possible.
To expand.
Absolutely.
To raise people's consciousness way outside of what they think is possible for themselves.
Yeah. And then there's also tons of things wrong with that too. I don't want the elite celebrities that get dressed by stylists to be the only people that get to enjoy those clothes.
Well, there's that. And then the pet peeve that comes from me about it all. And like the StyleLikeU version of it is people don't get that they're not dressing themselves and that this isn't theirs. And then they feel like it can't be them when that's not true. Like
No.
anybody can do anybody can be whoever they want to be, and you don't need a lot of money for it, as you know, going back to your roots.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the creativity within the industry is from the people that are the team. If you don't sing and you don't want to be a pop star, like, you probably have more opportunity to create art than you realize, for sure. Beyond. Also, people like me and other stylists who, are in the background doing this, like, we're looking at young artists because young artists move the culture always. It doesn't matter if you're popular. We're always looking at the college runways. We're always looking at the young designers that have 1,000 followers and email me. Like, I get why people get excited about celebrities wearing their stuff. Obviously, the exposure is insane, right? But like, I wish that they realized how cool that they were, the designers, and like the younger artists. Like, I wish they realized how cool that they were. Like, being the underground artist that is the inspiration is what you're living for, That's what you're like. You're already there. You're right there.
It's the most innovative people. It's the much smaller percentage and the much less popular ones that are actually making the impact.
Absolutely. And that is with every single, that is beyond. That transcends runway shows, music, like literally everything. Everyone just has to keep going because there will be a point, which it's happening. I see it happening. People are starting to actually not give a fuck about what celebrities are doing.
Yes. Or numbers.
And your investors that literally take away your inspiration and tell you to be more commercial.
That you should fit into this trend that they've made so that they can make money. That is the opposite of the way the culture will innovate, will grow, will be vital, where people will be thriving, where people will be equal. Without that art, it's a sick society. You need the original ideas, and you need people to be able to sustain with those ideas. So when do you feel the most vulnerable?
When I'm watched, when I'm not working. If I'm on set, I'm performing, great. Love it, don't care. You can watch me, I won't even notice. When I'm being watched on a day-to-day basis, when I feel exposed, I sometimes wish all the time that I could just be invisible until I didn't want to anymore.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I don't get to get ready anymore. So I always feel just ugly and like not myself. I feel like not myself. That's why. And then when you don't feel like yourself, when you're seen, you feel like you're being, you're
misunderstood.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible feeling.
It's the worst feeling.
And that goes back maybe to childhood, right?
Definitely. Yeah, we can always go back there.
We need to talk about that. We're both that way for that reason.
Yeah.
I think the expression, the style expression and the clothing expression, everything is so refined with people like us because we were not seen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not seen by, anyone. For sure. And still not seen by most people, but at least now I get to control it. I'm not going to high school and I'm not going to my house.
Right. And you also have this really deep core sense of self.
Yes. Much more. Definitely.
From all of
beyond.
The challenges and how far you've pushed yourself.
And I can trust myself now too, which is like that. Because when you're going through all of that tumultuous stuff and you keep making decisions and you keep getting shot down for them, in the moment, you do have the I just have to make it. Like, I do just have to keep going. Like, I've got this. But you also do not trust yourself sometimes because you go and like, I am fucking my life up and these aren't panning out well for me. I really haven't felt like I was able to trust myself until very recently.
Yeah, but it came from the failing fearlessly. So whatever that means, failing. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's absolutely awesome. And then when do you feel the most beautiful?
Oh, that's such a hard question. Yeah, when I feel seen and like really seen. creatively seen. When I'm on set and I feel this sense of value that doesn't matter what I look like, doesn't matter how I dress, doesn't matter anything, but it's just this true understanding and respect from another creative individual that is like, you bring something to this that other people could bring but wouldn't bring it in the way that you bring it. And that is when I feel the most beautiful.
Yeah, they're mirroring back to you that you are singular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That there's no one else like you, which is how everyone needs to. And it's true. Everyone has that. Everyone 100%. Has that.
Yeah.
Everyone has
and I think
that.
everyone gets it from, a different space. But definitely I feel I'm just really proud of what I do as well. Like I'm very proud.
You should be, because you've made a humongous impact.
I don't know.
You have. I will
So,
tell you that you have.
Thank you. We don't think about those things, but
very, very powerful.
Thank you.
Very powerful. And last question. If you could tell your younger self to not feel shame around something, what would that be?
That's so hard. That's like the hardest question thus far. It's hard because if I said like, oh, you're moving in a right direction. In certain places of my life, there would be different answers. But if I said that in middle and high school, I'd be like, well, yeah. I was just like that. But I think I would tell myself that I can still be respected. Yeah. Just because you are not allowing other people to see the shame does not mean that it does not exist. And it will probably leave you much faster if you just embrace it.
Embrace the vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
If you were able to allow yourself to be lost and to be vulnerable and to feel the pain that you were feeling, just to have allowed that and not feel you had to cover that up.
Yeah. And constantly chase,
the happiness outside, that this is going to fill the hole.
Nothing fills the hole besides you.
Exactly.
And it's a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, God. It is the absolute hardest. And it's the ultimate lesson of life, that when you realize that only you can fill that hole, and that actually, in reality, there isn't even a hole. You are complete already. Yeah. It's only that you've been made to feel that you're not. But in reality...
But also that hole like pushes you to move.
To find your completion.
Yeah.
To find how strong and complete you are. Yeah. This is amazing.
Thank you.
I absolutely loved amazing.
Me too. Me too. So much.
So great. Could talk. Obviously, we could talk forever, and we will.
Yeah, literally.